Thank you so much. Hi, Alyah. How are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just have to say, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm such a big fan of this show and, of course, of your character. So I'm really excited to be able to chat with you. My name is Tamia Fowlkes. I'm here with Blavity. And I am, again, super pumped to talk about season two. The show is such a delight to watch in its first season. And I'm just curious, stepping into the second season, what has been the most exciting part about revisiting this character for you? I remember reading an interview you did last year where you mentioned kind of knowing from the jump where Whitney was going as a character. You knew how you wanted to portray her. You knew kind of the identity that you wanted to shape for the role. And
Yeah.
so for this season, kind of what excited you most about stepping back into this role?
Oh, I think I was excited to be shaken as Whitney. I think she was shaken first season for sure by the situation she was in, but this time around I wanted to get deeper into her personal life, her ins and outs, what she likes, what she doesn't. I think I had a hard time season one because her entire world was the coach and was soccer and obviously her roommates and stuff, but we didn't really see her outside of that much. And so I was like, as an actor, trying to figure out who is she, what does she do, and trying to fill in the gaps and the holes and build this life and backstory. But ultimately, I was like, I have no idea. And also, Whitney had no idea. So it was cool to come back season two and be like, okay, let's sit down and have her go through this moment of finding it, figuring it out. What does it look like? What are the issues she runs into in her relationships? The Kanan situation was one I was curious about and still am curious about. But yeah, I was really excited and honestly grateful to get to revisit her and go deeper with her.
Definitely. I mean, I think especially coming off of season one, she's such a complex and unique character. But from the outside, you would think, she's this perfect girl. Her mom's a senator. She's a star athlete. She has this wonderful group of friends. For you, what do you think is the most important part about telling a complex story in that she has, her own struggles, and a lot of young women often, face those challenges where they don't know where they want to stand in a relationship, or they don't know where they stand with their friends, and really are trying to find their identity in other people. What has been
Yeah.
the unique part about shaping this character to be independent, maybe more so in season two than she was in season one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great to just watch people struggle. I think so often we see the hero story and people go through a little blip and then they're like, I'm great, I'm fine. But the reality is that we never really are. We're constantly changing and evolving and growing. And so to see Whitney season one be so hyper confident in soccer and in this relationship and then be rocked in that way and then come back, I love that we get to see her struggle. I love it because that's very natural. I struggle constantly. I'm struggling now. So yeah, I was just honestly grateful and to explore her identities beyond just being a young girl, being a young Black girl, and going to a predominantly white institution and dealing with relationships in that way, interpersonal friendships in that way, school in that way, all of it, how she interacts with the world is so different than her peers. And to explore that and to go into that is excited me, and I'm glad we did it.
Definitely. Do you have a favorite episode of this season? I've only watched the first few so far, but
Okay.
I'm wondering if there's any juice that you really enjoyed getting to portray on screen that fans can look forward to. Is there anything that really excites you for this season specifically?
My favorite episode of the season is episode 5, and then my second I think is episode 9. I think that's when shit goes crazy. But episode 5 is an episode where we see Whitney deal with a situation in school where she has a microaggression happen. And it was one of those things where I first season wanted so desperately to explore her racial identity, but also it's not something that comes immediately. Obviously it's inherent with being Black and showing up in any place you're always constantly Black, but it wasn't something that she really had time or energy or space to explore or understand. And she hadn't had a situation happen outside of that conversation she had with the coach where he was calling her dark chocolate or something. Yeah, she hadn't had a real moment to be wait, whoop, let me zoom out and take a second and look at where I'm at. And so in episode 5, she gets to do that. And it was something that I kind of asked Mindy and Justin if they were interested in exploring and if we could try to take a step that way. And one of our writers shared and had this idea. And so we sort of collaborated on it, and they came at me with one version of it that I was like, okay, I like this. However, I don't want the situation to feel like a violent extreme hate crime that makes her feel victimized in a way. I want it to feel oh, this shit again, here I go, I'm dealing with the same thing I always deal with. It's not a super big deal, but it does shape her identity and shows people how how she has a different experience than other people would. So I'm really excited about that episode, and the way we deal with it, I think, is so funny. And the situation itself is just like something I've experienced since I could talk. So yeah, I'm excited about that episode. And then episode 9, I can't say, but something really wild happens with Kanan, and it's great.
Yes, very excited to see it. Now, I think one thing that people don't appreciate or talk about enough with you is that you're a musical theater queen. You went to UMich. I'm from the Midwest, so like I appreciate that very, very much.
Oh, so
and
you
I
know.
was like watching your senior showcase like in high school, like playing it with
Like
my friends.
like entrance videos, the Michigan video.
Yes, like we would watch them in our like music room and I was like obsessed. So first of all, like genuinely such a fan. But I know that definitely this watching you in this character is probably so rooted in that experience, especially given that theater is also another place that is, very isolating for people of color, especially for Black actresses. It can be, a whole nother beast. Emily could watch you out here killing it in Phantom of the
My
Opera.
God, it's my bestie.
So yeah, so I just want to hear like how has your personal experience shaped this role for you? Like, are there any aspects of your college experience that you really found resonated with you in shaping this character in this season and in the first as well?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I feel like every single experience I have is intrinsically tied to my race, which it comes with the experience. I'm sure every workplace you enter, it's a thing. Even if it's not a bad thing, it's just there, it's present. And in college, I had Emily and I had 2 other women in my class, Leanne and Sydney, and we were like the 4 Black girls in our class, and we like clung to each other and got to experience all of that together. And then we graduated and we each, started working and doing our own things. And when I did the Book of Mormon, I sort of had a very unique, specific experience that we don't have the time to discuss fully. But it was one of those situations where I took a step back after it ended and I thought, I don't ever want to get myself into a place again as an actor where I don't feel like I have agency or control over my narrative racially. And I want to be conscious and aware at all times of the responsibility I have as an actor of color, and also the privilege I have as an actor of color who is working and has maybe some little bit more of control over the way we are seen in media overall. And so like my little part in that, I take very seriously, and it means the world to me. And I'm just grateful that I had Book of Mormon as like a learning lesson to know what not to do in other spaces. Like when I got to College Girls, I was like, okay, here's what I want to work on. Here's what I want to address. Hey, Mindy, Justin, let's chat. Like I am so about having the conversation. And so I take the responsibility very seriously.
Absolutely. And for all the young actors, the young people who are really looking up to you, like in this role, especially who resonate so deeply with it as I have in watching the show, what advice would you give in just like, tackling this young part of your life where you were really like taking on new things? For you, I know that this was your kind of like first professional TV role and kind of like cementing your space and taking up space and being okay to do that. Like, what is your advice for all the people out there who have been so inspired by you?
I don't know. I feel like I'm still learning it, but to not be afraid if you feel something in your gut and it's true to your experience, and other people that you are working with might not have that experience, don't be afraid to let them know. You know what I mean? I feel like so often I would think, oh, they'll take care of me, or they'll see that I'm experiencing this thing, or they'll get that I'm struggling with X, Y, or Z, and they'll know. But oftentimes, because it's such a specific experience to be a young person of color working, like they don't know. And so sometimes just saying it is enough to like let people know they need to get some things changed. And also just like having patience with yourself and knowing that like not every battle is worth the fight. And sometimes you just gotta like breathe and relax and have a good time and take the pressure off of yourself, because I definitely struggle to do that sometimes.
Absolutely. And then to wrap up, we know this show is about sisterhood, it's about friendship at the end of the day. And so do you have a favorite set memory or experience that you've gotten to share with your other 3 co-stars that you found to be, really resonant or reflective of the experience that you've had on this show that you might have a favorite to share?
Oh man, there's so many, to be honest with you. There's so many. I feel like the times that I leave set feeling like, oh my gosh, I love these people, I love this place, are honestly probably the most stressful days at work, because we cling to each other so much and we'll just be delirious, chaotic, like wild, feral energy, like bursting into song. We have 3-part harmony. Umra is beatboxing, and we're just trying to get through the day, whatever energy we can to get through the day. Like I look over at Renee and I know she's struggling. So I'm like, let me make her laugh. And it's like that little symbiosis we have together is just so invaluable, and like made working on the show such a joy. And like, I hope we get to like keep doing that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so wonderful to meet you and to hear about the show for this season. I'm really excited to watch the rest.